Hello friends, DCY Stazza here, and today we are going to be talking about mob grinders and experience grinders. This is a request that was made to me about a week ago by a viewer, and I thought I would cover it today. So I've been giving it a lot of thought, and I'm going to be basically just showing you like my paint palette, so to speak. I've been on a single player world, just playing around with some of the mechanics and things like that, and yeah, I'll just tell you everything I've learned, and hopefully you can go away and build something yourself or build one of the designs that I've got here today. So straight off the bat, we're going to be going over the experience grinder. So the general concept in an experience grinder is that you find a mob spawner, it spawns mobs, you kill those mobs over and over and over and over again, and it generates experience. Then people sort of took that concept and it became, how can I make these mobs easier to kill? I can't have them die in a kill room. I can't have them die by any other means by my own hand, or as they won't drop experience. Now, for those of you who are wondering, a Tesla coil will not make it drop experience. It will just slay the monster. It will drop its items, but it will not drop experience. Even if you're the one who placed a Tesla coil, blah, 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 it just doesn't recognize it as a player slay. So, someone came up with the concept of drowning them until they were, on no health, and then they would drop through and then you could kill them. The problem is getting monsters to stay in water for a very specific body of time is a ball ache, to put it bluntly. A lot of mobs don't sink, they will float, and it just gets very complicated. So someone else made the idea of having them go either fall straight down from where they spawned to hit the ground, so that they would be weakened by that, or go up what they call a water tower, which is a series of signs and water currents to make them actually climb to the top and then fall off. And the idea is that they would fall, take a lot of their damage, and they would leave them nice and weakened for you. So, if you're wondering what the actual maths is behind it, it is the number of blocks you fall minus 3 is how much damage you take. There is 2 damage points for a heart, so we have 10 hearts, which means we can take 20 damage. That's how much life we have, which means we could survive 22 blocks, because it would be 22 minus 3, which would make 19. If we were to fall 23 blocks, that would be us dead. So 21, 22, we would survive. So the concept, and zombies, skeletons, and creepers have exactly the same health of us, so those rules apply for them as well. So what I've done here is, this is your average mob spawner. Now I'm going to, obviously in reality, this would probably need to be 2 or 3 blocks wider, which means you'd need an extra teleporter. But teleporters, for those who don't know, work on mobs. So what you can do here is, you can have mobs spawn, go into a teleporter. The teleporter is placed 22 blocks in the air, which means when they fall into your desired location, they will be on half a heart, which means 1 sword hit, and they will die. Now I'm doing this with a stone sword, so you can prove that they're not on 2 or 3 hearts like a diamond sword may kill. No, they are on half a heart. So obviously it's daytime. We'll swap this to nighttime, see if anything spawns, but I gotta be honest, I haven't really set. Oh, there you go, straight away, and boom, one goes in and he comes down, and boom, and he falls down like that, and I come over here and I go, zombie, die, and he dies. Now obviously this is something that I've just whipped. Wow, I can't believe I actually dropped a 9 sword. This is something I've just whipped up at the last minute. Okay, so what you probably want is to have it come all the way along like this, so you can see the zombies throughout. Maybe you'd want a water current pushing them towards your viewing window, because you want the experience to get sucked in like this. One thing I will say is that the mob spawner has to be within a certain range of you. As far as I can tell, that range is somewhere between 12 and 16. Now, I've tried to look up the exact number on this, and as far as I can tell, it is about that number. So you would need to have this room probably a little bit closer, but you see what I mean. You'd stand here, and I've just become a zombie temporarily. You don't want to stand too close to these teleporters, so you'd probably want to stand here. This would be your wall, and you'd stand here, and this would be your slay. So you'd slay this way, and they teleport behind you, they come up there, and they drop. So that is the essential method for the XP farm. That is essentially what it does. Now, these teleporters have got a really good range, as you can see. Even though they're not actually going directly into there, they're still getting teleported. Anywhere sort of along this line will get them teleported, and then they all fall into here, and then they will all die by swords. Now, you can see most of the experience was going through the glass there, so it's not really an issue. But yeah, I mean, this is obviously just a brief overlook of what it is you would do. I'm not going to go into specifics, because that's kind of your job as a player. So, that's the experience generator using Tekkit. Obviously, you're sat there thinking, well, I could do that without Tekkit, but it becomes a pain in the ass, because you've got to make a water tower. So that is a very easy way, and obviously the power isn't that great, because teleporters are based on distance times items in your inventory. So mobs don't have an inventory, and it isn't a very big distance, so the power used to teleport really isn't very much. In fact, it's very, very small. So, you know, a couple of medium solar panels and you're sorted. And be honest, by the time you're looking at experience grinding, you're pretty minted. You know, that's sort of the last resource you go for. So, experience farming. We will come back to that at the end of this video, but right now we're going to move on to mob grinders. Now, mob grinders are a case for arguments on the internet. A lot of people argue about different builds of mob grinders, what works, what doesn't. They argue about mob schematics, you know, what is in the mob coding. The very basics of the mob coding is that a mob will lock onto you if you go within 16 blocks of its vision. It will then lock onto you and it will then chase you. It has vision on you regardless if you line of sight it. So if you go behind a wall, it will go around the wall. It will follow you. Well, it didn't used to, but it does now. And as far as I can tell, they will only spawn if they are outside of 24 blocks from where you are currently stood. So if a mob was going to spawn here and I'm within 24 blocks of it, it should not spawn. If I'm outside of 24 blocks, then it will spawn, but it won't lock onto me until I move within 16. That's as much as I can tell by scouring the internet and looking at some programming myself. So, going on that logic, a mob will only spawn if it's in a light of less than 7. Okay, a light level less than 7. I like to use pitch black because I find that pitch black definitely gives more results. So it's not really worth trying to get that nice sweet spot, you know, it's 5 or 6. You may as well just go for black, 0, 1, maybe, you know, nada. Let's get this going kind of thing. So, this is my first design. I just like to say now that none of these designs are original, or they're not my original designs, okay? All of these I either took ideas for, or I took directly from other people. These things are circling the internet, and they have been for years, since Minecraft came out. That is an older one I'm looking at now. This is a new one, but I will cover them both. So this one basically works by having 4 different directions coming into the middle. Water travels 8 blocks, so it's 8 blocks from here to here in every direction. Okay, then you go in 4 blocks and you go out 4 blocks, and then you go in 4 blocks and out 4 blocks. So it creates 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, as you can see. So, and then you would have, and I've done the corners so you can see what the walls will look like. So this is what the wall will look like. So it surrounds the side like this. So that's your wall. Okay, there. So this is your wall. So mobs can spawn anywhere within this zone, and eventually, because they can't jump because you've left 2 blocks for them to jump, they will eventually walk into this water. Now, mobs will maybe fight it for a little bit, but because you're not within 16 blocks, they're not trying to get to you. So eventually they go plop and fall into the middle. And that works for anywhere in this room. So you would go, this is how you would build the next floor, because remember that the water sits down one. So you actually need to go too thick, because this is where the water sits, as you can see. And then this is where they aggro onto. So this is where they stand, and this is where they fall. You need to make that too deep. It's essential because they don't want to be able to jump, okay? Mobs like to jump, and we don't want them to jump. So that's your first mob grinder. Now, there are things that, in fact, I will cover this at the end, but what I will say is you will want to make multiple floors. The more floors you have, the more mobs spawn, the more mobs spawn, the more items you get. Simple as that. So, let's move on to the next one. This one is a 16 by 16 block in the center, because a long time ago, I'm unable to link his channel because it's so old. Someone decided, by looking at their programming, that mobs love an area of 16 by 16. I don't know how true that is, but all I know is that I have used this design a lot. Granted, I haven't used it in about 4 or 5 months, but when I used to use it in sort of 1.8 kind of time, it was amazing. Okay, so it's hard for me to argue with that guy because he was definitely onto something. So you have a 16 by 16 block, then you leave a 2 block gap, and there's your wall. So this is your actual wall that surrounds your mob tower, okay? So this is the wall that it will be on the outside of your tower. And then in each corner, you leave a 2 by 2 hole, which drops down to the kill floor. Kill floors are over there. I will cover that in a minute. So that hole is essentially the same as that hole in the middle, but you have one in each corner, okay? And this goes all the way up to the top floor. So as you can see, I've started building the second floor. You leave a 2 block gap, essential, because you do not want them jumping, as we covered before. And then you need to have it 2 deep because this is where your water runs. So this is your center, this is your water, and then this is your main wall here. Okay, so and the hole in the corner goes all the way down. So if I made another floor, it would still have a 2 by 2 hole in the corner. Okay, so that's the most important thing. You've got to have that. You've got to have that drop. Okay, so we go over to here. Now this is the kill floor for this here. Okay, so this, you can also use this for this. So essentially, you would have this go out in opposite directions. So you'd have this kill floor go from here out to here. Then you would have this one go from here to here. This one from here to here. And this one from here to here. So you have them going in opposite directions. So there's always room for it. Okay, so in this one, you'd have 4 kill floors. And then you would have a joint meetup, or using Tekkit makes it a lot easier. So I'll cover that now. So you used to use water currents to carry items from your kill room to you 24 blocks away, but using the power of Tekkit, we can use obsidian piping. So this is no longer required. So they drop down from your drop room. So this is that one in the middle, or from each of these corners. They drop down here, and then you leave a 2 gaps so they can't jump. That's going to be a running theme. They cannot jump. So this will actually go along all the way along here. I've just left this open so you can see. When you get to this point, okay, this is where it gets interesting. This is what they call a kill floor, a kill room, or a kill mechanism, or whatever you want to call it. You have 2 signs. Now, signs are great for using lava because, as you all know, lava travels 4 blocks from its source, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so normally that would drop down, but the sign is stopping the lava from dropping down. So it creates a little latch there. So when a zombie comes along, ow, 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 dies. But because the lava isn't below it, the items from the mob drop into the water source below it, and they carry it down to the obsidian pipe. So essentially all you need to have is your lava source, and then 1, 2, 3, and on this third one you have your sign. So and then it drops down to 1 block below this water source, and it gets carried along. This is where you have your obsidian. Now, people seem to think that you need to have a red power engine on an obsidian pipe. Yes, you can, but you don't have to. Okay, an obsidian pipe without a redstone engine will pick up an item that gets moved directly into it, as you are now about to see. Voila, magic. If you had a redstone engine on it, good idea, but that's only used if you want to have it pick up a much larger area. For this purpose, you do not need that. So when their items get dropped into this water and get carried along, they'll go into this obsidian pipe, which will get taken to your energy condenser, your wooden chest, your alchemist chest, whatever it is you want, and this can be taken to where you are, 24 blocks away, or wherever the hell it is you are. You could be 40 blocks away and stick down a world anchor underneath your mob grinder. As long as you're outside 24 blocks and that chunk is still being registered, mobs are going to spawn. So this can go to your house, which can be just upstairs, and then you can be miles away, or it can come to where you are, 24 blocks away. That's again up to you. So, this got me thinking, this is nearly 100% efficient. The only thing that can possibly go wrong here is occasionally the mobs, when they die, the items will drop and they will hit the lava first. Now, most of the time, they'll drop straight through and hit the water without going, but sometimes the items get destroyed. And I'm talking literally a 1 out of 10, maybe 2 out of 10. So this thing is 80-90% efficient when it comes to item drops. But this is where Tekkit comes in. If you would like that number to be 100% efficient, then this is what you do. You have exactly the same system, okay? But instead of having lava, you have Tesla coils. Now, Tesla coils use power, a lot of it, I may add. So this is only if you're a top level. They cannot take high voltage, so you need to have an MFU. MFU? Yeah, MFU. Let me check this right. I get confused. No, I'm actually wrong. It is a MFE. MFE, I was nearly there. MFE, not an MFSU. And you need to have medium voltage, so that you're going to need quite a lot of them. But but this is 100% efficient. Any mob that comes down here, okay, is going to hit these Tesla coils, and I'm now going to demonstrate. So these Tesla coils are now on. Mobs drop down through your drop hole into here, and the Tesla coil, when the mobs get in range, begins slaying them. There's no lava, no fire, no nothing. So when they reach the Tesla coil, they die. Their items drop. They fall down from this current into that current, and they get taken down. If you're low on power, the mobs will just sit here. They can't go anywhere. They can't do anything. They're not, even if they want to try and get back up here, it's bloody difficult. So they're going to sit here until the Tesla coil has enough power, and then it's going to go kablowy, and it's going to die. Once again, the items will come down this water source. They'll go into the obsidian block, and voila, you have a 100% efficient kill room. Again, this is a lot of power, but it is 100% efficient. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to cover in this video, I'm talking so fast, but I'm trying to get this into a nice tight video so that it isn't 50 minutes long. So, this got me thinking. Sometimes you can't get a mob spawner. Sometimes it just can't happen. Lots of people think that if you get a silk touch on your pickaxe that you can pick up a mob grinder. You could pick up a mob spawner with a silk touch. You can't anymore. Okay? Unless, well, on the version I'm running, which is the development build at the time that I record this, it doesn't work. I've tried it. It may work on future ones, but as far as I'm aware, it does not work. So I wouldn't go investing in that. So not everyone can find one. And you know, not everybody is in an efficient place to do it. So how do we turn these mob spawners that we want items from into XP farms? It's very simple. You have your drop room, like we've done on these two, but when they drop, they hit a water current, two blocks so they can't jump, but instead of reaching a kill floor, they reach teleporters, which teleports them from here, you guessed it, 22 blocks in the air. They drop down, hit the ground, and there you can stand and hit them with your sword. Now the added benefit of this is that you don't need to be within 12 to 16 blocks of the mob spawner over here for this to work. Okay, you see where I'm going with this? Oh, don't know what I did there. So you could be 30, 40, 50, 60 blocks away, have a world anchor register your mob grinder, and be sat here ready and waiting for mobs to fall from the sky so you can slay them in the face. That is basically a XP grinder where you don't need a mob spawner to do it. You can use your own mob grinder. So that is like a little, thought I had. And the last thing is, this is obviously, you don't really want to have 4 of these for this one over here, because you want them to link to all to 2. So this is how you would have them all link into one load. You'd have them fall from each corner, okay? Then you would have them drop into a 4 long, come to here, and that's all you'd need. Now you may think that won't do it, but these things tend to teleport anything within a block of it. So that covers everything. So mobs falling down here will reach the middle and they will teleport 22 blocks in the air. They will fall being left on half a heart, where you'll be stood there with your stone sword going, "What's up?" And you smack them in the face, getting your experience. So that is pretty much it, boys and girls. That is my thoughts on XP farms and mob farms in the Tekkit mod pack. One thing I would like to say is, you may think that the build actually is what can go wrong with a mob grinder. That is actually not right. What the main cause for mob grinders not working, you ready? The main thing that stops these methods from working is light, okay? Not only do you have to worry about light within your mob grinder, okay, so you need to make sure that all your torches are gone, there's no holes in the wall, there's no light getting in here so they can spawn, but basically, when your world tries to spawn mobs, it will take a chunk, okay, or multiple chunks. It will find all areas within those chunks or chunk that they can spawn mobs. So let's say it's 100 blocks by 100 blocks square. Okay, it's all pitch black. So the mobs, the difficulty decides it's going to spawn. So if you're on easy, medium, hard, it decides how many mobs it's going to spawn within those 100 blocks and spawns them because it's pitch black, randomly dotted around as the computer likes to do. But if 50 of those blocks were lit up and the other 50 weren't, it would spawn the same amount of mobs in those 50 blocks as it would within the 100. But it would just spawn it within blocks that it can do it in. So this is what I'm telling you. If you have this area all black, but everything around it is also black, when it comes to spawn, it's going to spawn anywhere, isn't it? Not necessarily just within your tower. okay? But if you light up everything around your spawner, including below your spawner with torches or glowstone or whatever, it's going to have a very limited amount of space where it can spawn these mobs because you've lit up the area. And guess where it's going to spawn them? You guessed it, in your mob grinder. So the more lit up around it, the better. One last thing I'm going to say is what you build it out of doesn't matter. They will spawn on player base blocks. They will spawn on normal blocks. So I wouldn't worry about that. So lighting, that is the most important thing when you deal with this. Lighting, light your area up. Make sure there's no cave networks underneath your tower. Light those up. Light everything up. You cannot be too vigilant about this. The more lit up the area, the more mobs you'll get, the more items you'll get, or the more experience you'll get. So that's about it. I hope this video has been helpful. I hope I haven't been speaking too quickly, but I wanted to get this into a nice type video. If you have any questions or want me to do more on this, then leave a comment below telling me what it is you're confused about, and I will make another video. If you like this video, make sure you thumbs it up, because that's how I judge what videos I should be making. Make sure you check out my other stuff. I've been DCY Stezza, you've been amazing, and I will see you next time.